The Dakar Rally is not just any race. It's a battle against nature, endurance, and survival. Known today as the world's most dangerous motorsport event, it has a fascinating but brutal history that goes all the way back to 1979. It all began with a man named Thierry Sabine, who got lost in the Libyan desert during a race in 1977. But instead of being afraid, he saw something different, an opportunity. He imagined a race that would combine speed with the ultimate test of survival in the harshest environment. Just 2 years later, the first edition of the Paris-Dakar Rally was born, starting in Paris, France, and finishing in Dakar, Senegal. From the beginning, this race stood out. It wasn't your typical racetrack. Drivers had to tackle treacherous sand dunes, rough rocky roads, unpredictable weather, and endless desert stretches. Unlike most races, this one wasn't just about speed. It was about endurance, navigation, and mental toughness. Getting lost or stuck in the sand happened often. Racers needed sharp instincts and skill because even the smallest mistake could be deadly. As the years passed, the Dakar Rally grew in popularity, attracting competitors from all over the world. It wasn't just for professionals anymore. Adventurers, amateurs, and even regular people who dreamed of conquering the desert joined the race. But with more participants came more risks. The rally quickly earned its reputation as one of the deadliest races ever. The numbers speak for themselves. Since the race began in 1979, over 70 people have died while competing in the Dakar Rally, and that's not counting the many injuries and close calls. Drivers face a range of dangers, crashes, extreme weather, and even getting lost in the vast desert. One of the earliest fatalities was in 1982 when racer Bert Oosterhuis was killed after his car flipped over during the rally. Then, in 1986, tragedy struck again when the race's founder, Thierry Sabine, died in a helicopter crash while overseeing the event. Despite these risks, the Dakar's reputation continued to grow, along with the list of accidents. It's not just the racers who face danger. Spectators and support crews have been involved in accidents as well. In 1988, 6 people lost their lives when a support vehicle collided with a group of spectators. It's a reminder that the Dakar Rally is dangerous for everyone, not just those behind the wheel. One racer put it best: "The Dakar isn't just a race, it's a fight for survival. Every driver knows the risks. You don't just prepare your bike or car. You prepare your mind for whatever the desert will throw at you. One wrong move, and it could be the end." The race conditions have always been unforgiving, but it's exactly that danger that draws people to it year after year. It's about pushing the limits of human endurance. Whether they face the scorching heat of the Sahara or the freezing cold of the mountains, the Dakar remains one of the toughest tests of man versus nature, and for some it's a test that costs everything. Now that you know the deadly history of the Dakar Rally, let's dive into the stories of 2 legendary racers, José Manuel Perez and Fabrizio Mayoni. Their tragic deaths in the same rally shook the racing world and changed the course of Dakar forever. José Manuel Perez, a tragic loss. Let's now turn our attention to a heartbreaking story that shook the Dakar Rally community to its core, the tragic loss of José Manuel Perez. His story not only highlights the extreme dangers of this race, but also serves as a reminder of the risks every competitor faces. José Manuel Perez, affectionately known as El Carni by his friends and fans, was a dedicated Spanish motorcyclist. Born in 1963 in a small town in Spain called Vigo, Perez was passionate about motorcycles and adventure from an early age. He loved the thrill of racing across tough terrains, and that passion eventually drew him to one of the most challenging and dangerous races in the world, the Dakar Rally. Though Perez wasn't a global celebrity like some other racers, in Spain he was admired for his persistence, skill, and deep love for the sport. Dakar was his ultimate challenge. He had competed in several rally events before, but nothing compared to the brutal nature of Dakar. For him, just finishing this grueling race was the dream, the accomplishment of a lifetime. Before entering the 2005 Dakar Rally, Perez had already participated in 2 previous editions. Each time, he displayed remarkable determination, fighting through tough conditions with every mile. The Dakar Rally is infamous for its unpredictable weather, intense heat, and dangerous terrain. It tests both the physical and mental limits of every rider, but for Perez, this was where he wanted to be, on his motorcycle, battling the elements. The 2005 Dakar was meant to be his defining race, where he could finish strong and cement his place in the rally's history. However, this dream tragically came to an end during Stage 7 of the 2005 race. On January 6th, while racing through the unforgiving desert between Zouarat and Tichit in Mauritania, Perez's fate took a devastating turn. This part of the rally was known for its harsh sand dunes and unbearable heat. Even the most seasoned riders found it difficult to navigate through this brutal stage. As Perez sped through the course, he lost control of his motorcycle and suffered a violent crash. He was thrown from his bike and sustained severe injuries, including multiple fractures and internal trauma. The crash was catastrophic, and he was immediately in a critical condition. The Dakar's medical team acted quickly, airlifting Perez to a hospital in Attar, Mauritania, where doctors did their best to stabilize him. But the situation was dire. From there, he was flown to a larger hospital in Alicante, Spain, where his family hoped for a miracle. For days, Perez fought for his life in the hospital. Despite the best efforts of medical professionals, his injuries were too severe to recover from. On January 10, 2005, just 4 days after his crash, José Manuel Perez passed away, surrounded by his loved ones. His death sent shockwaves through the Dakar Rally community. Everyone knew the race was dangerous, but Perez's passing was a stark reminder of just how high the stakes were. Perez became the 45th competitor to lose his life in the history of the Dakar Rally. For many, his death felt especially tragic because he wasn't just a competitor. He was a man driven by his love for adventure and the thrill of the race. He wasn't a world champion, but his spirit and determination had earned him the respect of his fellow riders and fans alike. His passing was a heartbreaking loss for the motorsport world. The impact of Perez's death was felt immediately within the Dakar community. His tragic accident wasn't just another statistic. It was a moment that forced everyone involved with the rally to confront the race's deadly reality. The death of José Manuel Perez sent a shockwave through the motorsport world. This tragedy pushed Dakar organizers to reevaluate the race's safety measures. For years, the rally had carried the reputation of being dangerously difficult, but these 2 losses made it clear that changes had to be made. In the wake of this tragedy, the Dakar Rally began to introduce new safety protocols. Measures like enhanced medical support, faster helicopter response teams, and more advanced GPS tracking systems for the riders became standard. The organizers knew that while the spirit of the Dakar Rally was about pushing the limits, they had a responsibility to make sure the drivers had a fighting chance to survive the race. Even though the rally remained one of the most dangerous in the world, the changes that followed Perez's death ensured that safety became a higher priority. Today, José Manuel Perez is remembered not just for his tragic death, but for his passion for racing. His story lives on in the Dakar community, inspiring riders who face the same dangerous challenges each year. His determination to push forward, even in the face of such a daunting challenge, continues to resonate with racers and fans alike. Though he never got to finish the 2005 Dakar Rally, his legacy endures in the hearts of those who follow the race. The legend of Fabrizio Mayoni. Just days after Perez's passing, another racing legend, Fabrizio Mayoni, would also lose his life in the same 2005 Dakar Rally, marking one of the darkest periods in the event's history. Fabrizio Mayoni was more than just a motorcycle racer. He was a legend. Born in Italy, Mayoni was known for his incredible skills on a bike and his passion for competing in the toughest races on Earth. The Dakar Rally was the race that defined his career and, tragically, his life. Mayoni's love for the Dakar Rally wasn't just about winning. It was about testing himself against the most extreme conditions. He entered the race year after year, fully aware of the dangers, yet driven by the challenge. His persistence paid off in 2001 and 2002 when he claimed victory, securing his place among the greatest Dakar riders. Despite his successes, Mayoni was aware of the risks. In an interview, he reflected on the dangers. "Every time we go out there, we are fighting against nature, our machines, and our own limits. It's a test, a challenge," he said. These words later felt haunting, as they foreshadowed what was to come. In the 2005 Dakar Rally, during Stage 11, Mayoni tragically lost his life. It was a tough stage with unforgiving terrain. Mayoni suffered a crash, and after the fall, he had a heart attack. Despite efforts to save him, he passed away on the scene. His death sent shockwaves through the Dakar community and the wider motorsport world. His fellow competitors were devastated. One rider said, "Fabrizio was the heart and soul of the rally. Losing him is like losing a part of Dakar itself." Mayoni wasn't just another racer. He was someone people looked up to. His death wasn't just a loss for the sport. It was deeply personal for those who knew him. What made Mayoni's death even more emotional was that he had voiced concerns about the increasing dangers of the Dakar before the race. He had seen other riders injured or killed, but chose to keep competing, driven by his love for the sport. For him, the Dakar was more than just a race. It was a calling. Mayoni wasn't just known for his racing. He was also deeply involved in charity work, especially in Africa, where the Dakar often passed through. He believed in giving back and worked to improve the lives of those the race impacted. This side of Mayoni made him even more respected by fans and fellow racers alike. When the news of his death spread, the outpouring of grief was immediate. Fans and racers around the world shared their memories of him, highlighting not just his racing skills but also his kindness and generosity. His death left a hole that couldn't be filled. For many, Mayoni represented the spirit of the Dakar Rally. He was tough, fearless, and dedicated to pushing himself to the limit. His legacy lives on not just as a two-time Dakar champion, but in the hearts of those who admired him. The Dakar Rally is a dangerous race, and Mayoni knew that, yet he continued to push forward, driven by his love for the challenge. These drivers knew the risks and returned every year. Can you imagine risking everything for the love of a sport? It takes a certain kind of person to do that, and Mayoni was that kind of person. His story is a powerful reminder of the thin line between triumph and tragedy in the Dakar Rally. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Dakar Rally's heroes and their stories, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. There's much more to come. Mayoni's death, along with José Manuel Perez's loss earlier in the same rally, marked a turning point for the Dakar. The organizers implemented changes to improve safety, but the risks remain. The Dakar Rally is still one of the most dangerous motorsport events, and while it continues to attract adventurers, Mayoni's memory reminds us of the real stakes. Today's Dakar Rally is safer with better technology, GPS, and medical support, but it's still dangerous. Recent deaths remind us that the risks remain real. It's safer, but not safe. What do you think? Should the race continue? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more incredible motorsport stories.